Hey, third graders, I'm so happy you came back for the fifth and final alternative learning resource for content and all the other ones for math and for language arts. Those are going to be your last ones too, your fifth one. So you've done such a great job so far. You've worked so hard. You've been such great problem solvers through all this crazy. So keep it up. You've got one more to go, and then you can finish strong and enjoy your summers like you well deserve. So for content, this unit is all about something called simple machines. And that's exactly what they are. They're machines that are very simple. There's not a lot of moving parts. There's not a lot going on with them. But they're machines because they help people do work. And we're going to get to the bottom of that. What makes them simple? What makes them machines? What are they? What do they do? And how do they help us? So this is one of my all-time favorite units. I'm really disappointed that I can't be delivering it to you in class because we'd have a lot more fun with it. But hopefully you can still enjoy it and learn something from it and take away some things like you would at school. So we've got 5 days. They're all really short. All we're really going to do is go over some main vocabulary words that you have to understand this whole unit. Basically, like always, we've got some really key vocab words that if we don't know what they mean, everything else is going to be a little bit confusing if we don't know what these key words mean. So we're going to do those today. But every other day, we're going to learn about 2 simple machines. We're going to learn about what their names are, what they do, how they help us, and how they're different from the other ones. But let's get started on day 1. It's going to be really short. So make sure you give it your all. Really try to remember these words and what they mean, because it's really going to help you whenever we're learning about the other simple machines. So if you look in your packet, you've got your packet, you've got your notebook packet, like your digital notebook, and then I think you've got a couple other practice pages. Today, all we're going to use is the packet that you see on my screen, and if you want to use your notebook packet, you can use that too. I know you don't have to actually watch these videos to do what you need to do, but I think it might help you a little bit learning from me rather than learning from yourself. So we are on day 1, and what we're going to do is I'm going to go over to the digital notebook packet and talk about some of these words that we must know before we get into this unit. Okay, so you can stay on this page. You're going to fill in the words that I show you on the digital notebook. So I'm going to have to do that, and I'm going to go away over here on the side. But you can still hear me. So this is your notebook packet. And the very first page, and this is what you're looking at right now, is the sentence that says, simple machines are used to make work blank. And if you actually listened to me earlier, I already told you what machines do. And simple machines, and all machines, are used to make work easier for the person doing the work. Okay, so you can write that in there. They make work easier. That is their purpose. Now, they all do different things to make that work easier depending on what work you're doing, but they all make it easier. And they don't have many moving parts if they have any moving parts. That's why they're called simple machines. So think about like a bicycle. There's all those things moving. The wheels are moving, the gears are moving, the pedals are moving, the steering column's moving. All those things are moving. That's not a simple machine. Okay? Simple machines do not have very many moving parts, if they have any moving parts at all. And you can go down here to the next part. It says the 6 simple machines are, and I'm going to read them. These are what we're going to be learning about over the next 5 days. You can write them on the blank lines in your packet. So we've got a wedge. That's number 1. And we're going to look at pictures. We're going to learn about all these things. But for right now, we're just going to write down what they are, what their names are. 1 is wedge. 2 is called a lever. I'm sure you've heard that word before. 3 is a pulley. You've probably heard that before too. In fact, the purpose of the pulley is actually in its name. It's used to pull things. So number 3 is a pulley. Number 4 is an inclined plane. Some people just call it an incline. Other people call it a ramp. We're going to call it an inclined plane. A plane is just a flat surface. An incline means going up or down. So that's number 4. The 5th one we're going to learn about is a screw. I know you all have heard that before. And number 6, the last one, is the wheel and axle. That actually, I know it has 2 words in it, or 2 items in it, wheel and axle, but they work together to make one simple machine. Okay. Now, before we get to know each of the simple machines, we need to learn some very special words that help explain how they help us. And this is what I was talking to you about earlier, is before we get to know these words, we've got some really, really, really important words that help us understand all the other simple machines. So we're going to go ahead moving on to that. And that's section 2 in your packet if you're looking at it right now. It's section 2. It says use page 2 in your notebook packet to fill in the missing info. If you're watching this video, you don't have to because I'm going to do it for you. So I'm going to go on to the next page and we're going to talk about each of these 1, 2, 3. We're going to talk about these 5 important words when it comes to physics or simple machines. All right, so I'm going to go away here again. I'm going to keep talking though, and you just follow along on the screen. All right, check this out. All right, so we've got the big vocab here. The first one says blank is a powerful pulling force between objects. Okay, now if you look down at the bottom, we have a word bank. Okay, and those words are force, effort, gravity, load, and work. Now, they're all really, really similar, and we're going to find that out. All these definitions are very, very similar. But they're very important to know the difference between them. So that first one, a powerful pulling force between objects. Pulling away. Okay? Think of pulling away or pulling closer to is actually gravity. So the earth actually pulls us onto it. Number 2 is blank is the amount of force you apply. So if we think of gravity and we think of how the earth is pulling this force down on us, okay, there's a certain amount that is pulling. That is called effort. How much effort is the earth actually pulling down on us? How much effort are you pushing up on that shovel? Or how much effort are you pulling down on that pulley? Effort is the amount of force that you actually apply. Basically, how much strength are you using? All right, the third one. The blank is the object that you're trying to move. When you're working, you're always trying to move something. And that's called the load. Okay? Think of it as you put a load into the back of a truck, or you put a load into a wheelbarrow, or you put a load into something, and that's what you're carrying, the heavy thing that you're trying to move. The load is the object. All right, the next one is a push or a pull used to move an object. So think about pushing or pulling something. What would you consider that? We've got 2 words left, and those words are work and force. Which one do you think is a push or a pull used to move an object? It's force. Good. And I know I use the word strength for effort, how much force you're applying, but they're very, very similar. Force is the push or the pull. Effort is how much of the force you're using. Okay, they're very, very similar. Force is what you're doing. Effort is how much you're doing it. And then the last one is the use of force to move an object. And this is called work. So anytime you're trying to move an object and that object moves, you're using effort, you're using force, you're moving the load. And if all those things work together and that object moves, You have been doing work. So I told you these words are all very, very similar and very closely related, but each of them is so important to this unit because all of them work at the same time. You have to apply the force, you have to apply the effort. There's obviously a load involved, and obviously you're trying to do some sort of work. And during all of these things, if you're on Earth, if you're on planet Earth, gravity is also working. So, hopefully, these words make more sense now that we've talked about them. Take some time today or tomorrow or whenever. Go over these words with yourself, or talk to a sibling, or talk to a parent or a grandparent or your dog, and talk to them about each of these words, what they mean. Try to think about them as if you're actually using them. Okay, if you're in a real world situation, if you're in a real life situation, and you have to apply a force to something, what does that mean? What does that mean? Okay, talk about it. We know we learn best when we talk about things and explain things. That's my favorite part of being a teacher. That's why I learn so much, is because I teach so much. When you teach it to somebody else, when you talk about it to somebody else, you learn even more. So try that. That's it for day one. Okay, tomorrow we're going to start learning about two of the simple machines, and every other day we're going to learn more and more simple machines, what they do, how they help us work, and why we use them. So great job today. Keep up the hard work. Get your math done. Get your language arts done. Play outside. It's going to be a beautiful week this week. Okay, so try to fit it all in. Y'all are working so hard. I miss you so much. I love you, and I will see you next time. Peace.